Awesome. Thanks, Shane. I appreciate it. And thank you, everybody, for joining today. My name is Scott Wolf. I'm the Director of Sales here at Techosystems. As Shane said, we've been longtime partners and friends with the folks at Central Data. I'm excited today to walk you guys through Creatio CRM, but we've done these videos before, so Shane just gave a call up to next week's session. If you go to their YouTube page, you should find some of our other presentations that I've done around Creatio. Today, I want to concentrate a little bit on more of what the no-code means for CRM. That is a big mantra for Creatio, is the ability to configure easily. So we'll talk a little bit more about that today, but the concentration will be on what CRM is, and we'll dive into some software here in just a sec. So appreciate you all getting together. I can get my mouse to work. Awesome. So we'll start with literally like 3 slides. I will talk just a quick bit about who Techosystems is, my company, and what Creatio is. We'll explain a little bit about what no code means, like why do you guys even give a rip about that? And then we will obviously spend a good portion of the time actually in software, right? So I'll be sharing Creatio for you guys. And then at the end of the presentation, I've got a little bit of a special offer. Of course, have to have a little teaser hanger there for you guys, see if I can keep you along, but I do have a little bit of an offer at the back end. So this is scheduled for an hour. Try to keep these about 30, 40 minutes long. Shane, I think, yeah, if you can monitor the chat for me, we will answer questions throughout if any of those pop up. So real quick about Techosystems and why we work with Central Data and who we are. So we have been around for almost 25 years now. We concentrate exclusively in the CRM space. So we have hundreds of CRM implementations. I actually, and a couple of my colleagues that are here at Techosystems with me, are former Infor employees, specifically in the distribution space. So before joining Techosystems, I spent about 5 years at Infor, selling CRM into distribution. So I know a handful of the Central Data folks from there. And some of their customers. And then when I joined Techosystems, we built a really strong integration pretty quickly into SX CloudSuite Distribution. And so, yeah, we want to be here to help you guys with some design and help you implement Creatio for your CSD implementations. So what does no code mean? And in our world, what are some of the major nuances of a CRM, right? It's often misconstrued that, a CRM is just a sales tool. And of course, CRMs have sales functionality, helping people with leads and accounts and contacts, those types of things. Of course, any good CRM will do that well. But what makes Creatio different and sets us aside from all the others is it's built on what they call a no-code platform. Used to be low code, but they've moved now towards this no code. And that means the ability to make changes in the system can be done by an end user, right? Now, a lot of our customers, we put gates and rules and processes in place. So, the average sales guy isn't going in and, modifying the screens and writing new processes. But you don't need to be a developer, right? I'm going to tease today throughout the ability to change the screen, add new lookup values, change the color of things on the screen, are all done with drag and drop. And why that matters is your businesses are continually changing. I won't go into a big distribution methodology pitch, but you're all unique in your own right. And then your businesses are going to change over time. And so instead of having to go to IT or hire a full-time developer to manage your software, you can go and make those changes, right? If it makes business sense, you guys can go in, and because it's written in this no-code platform, you can make those changes. So we'll show that throughout today. And Creatio is written in what they call their business process automation. We love our alphabet soup in IT, right? So it's a BPA, and really for you guys, what that means is the if-then scenarios are also no code. And that means if a lead comes in and it's in Phoenix, that comes to me. if somebody goes to our website and fills out a lead form and it's in Detroit, that goes to Shane, right? If the opportunity hasn't been touched in 30 days, I want an email to go to my boss. Or if a quote is over a certain amount and I want an email to go out to my boss for an approval, right? All of those if an order comes in from CSD and it's past due, right? The credit terms are past due, I want an activity auto-scheduled for the sales rep so he can follow up, right? Those are all done. These business processes to help streamline your business are all done in a drag and drop editor, which I will show in a moment. And the last thing here is it's all built in a unified CRM. So I'm going to tease in about 30 seconds here the system, sales, marketing, service, right? If you have multiple people from your organization all talking to the same customers, they should all be in CRM in theory, right? You have an inside sales and outside sales, finance, operations, accounting. If they're calling the customers, either with our integration or we could have them in CRM. Okay, I encourage you all please to put questions in the chat if they arise. Shane, I'll ask you to interject throughout, but I'm gonna actually move over to software now. And so for the folks that might not have seen Creatio before, I'm going to spend just a minute doing a very quick overview of the basic navigation. And then we're going to start jumping into some of the sections and talk about the ease of configuration. So I'll draw your attention here in the system, and I'll do my best to pinch and zoom throughout. I'll draw your attention to this black bar on the side. So this is our section panel, and we have, depending on your role or permission, we can expose different workplaces. So in your sales license, if you're a seller and you come in, I have visibility to the home page, which we'll talk about reporting here in just a second, but I can view my tasks, my leads and accounts and contacts, the orders and invoices from CSD, the products from CSD, the forecasting, knowledge base. I've got all these objects as a seller, right? Maybe I'm in service, customer service. We have some SX customers that are using this exclusively for service. So think of your help desk, freight and warranty claim management. They use Creatio, and then we push those over to SX, where they manage cases. Other CRMs might call these tickets, but if I'm a service technician, I can deal with the same accounts and contacts. I'm dealing with service agreements, call queues, service cases. So we'll tease this in a little bit, but I see, what I'm showing here is I see a completely different view depending on my role or permission. The last leg of the stool is marketing. We're not going to spend a ton of time in this, but think of like a MailChimp, Constant Contact, Act-On, something like that. We have the ability to bring that into Creatio, and we can do bulk emails, full drip campaigns, landing page integration, event management. We're going down to Tug, the user group, with the folks at Central Data in a couple months. So we'll manage our events, who's going from Teco Systems, which customers are going to be there. We can invite people to the events. So you have full event management here as well. But of course, we can create custom workplaces. So, pinch and zoom too fast there. We have a central data user here, so I can aggregate sections from across the system. Yeah, so we can expose only what you want to see. So that's part of that no code as well, is in the system settings up here, I can tell the system just by choosing options what fields I want here available. Okay. So let's talk about finding records. Wherever you're at in the system, up at the very top in this black bar is this search. So this we get all the time when we start doing training and navigation is how do I find things? So I could, of course, click on accounts on the left. It's going to take me to the account list view. And inside of here, I could use this search and I could say, give me Alpha Business, right? So by typing in Alpha here, it went and found all the accounts and it found me Alpha Business, which is fantastic. But if I want to, I can use the global search and I could type in the same word alpha And now the system is going to go and find everything that it knows is associated with alpha. So potentially I'm on the phone with Shane and he and I are chit-chatting about a project and I get a call and it's Bob from Alpha Business, right? All I need to do, all I need to do is just type in the word alpha and it goes and finds all the accounts, all the cases, all the contracts, all the invoices, all the orders, all the opportunities. So if I'm on the phone and it's Alex Wilson from Alpha and he says, hey Scott, I'm calling about order number 32. All I did was type in alpha and now it navigated me to that order here, right? So I can see the products and the delivery date and all of that. So this global search at the top is wildly powerful because it's going to go find everything that it knows is associated with alpha. So let's talk for just a second about reporting, right? That's pretty powerful when people are using CRM is they want to understand, the reports. What visuals can I get from the system? So Creatio's homepages are wildly powerful in that they'll allow you to expose data easily from different objects. So I'm just on a sales homepage and it looks like it's pulling back closed won opportunities, account creation, so new customers versus existing customers. I can get lead conversion rates. So think of your sales forecasting. I can start exposing data, year-to-date sales on orders. I think when we get into the other workplaces, oops, that's the sales one, like the service homepage exposes case data, right? Cases by assignee, cases by service. The marketing one starts talking about your marketing budget, how much money are we spending, where are our leads coming from? So we can build these home pages to be wildly flexible. And I'm going to click this little baby gear up in the top corner here, and I'm going to expose the page editor for this home page. So this is the first time we're now going to dive into the back end, and I'll show you some of that no-code configuration. Is here in this view, I have you'll see the main page, sales homepage with all the different metrics. So I see those here. I can just drag and drop these if I want to make them different sizes. I could move this below. If I want to move that below those, that pushes that up. I can make that bigger. So I can change the UI. But on the left side here, I can add new content. So if I wanted to go create a new bar chart of opportunities by owner, I can drag that over here. It's going to ask me what color do I want to make it. So we'll make this one green because it's money about opportunities. And then all I need to do at this point is just tell the system that I want a bar chart of opportunities by owner, right? So we're going to say opportunities by owner. The object is going to be opportunities, and we're going to do a sum or account. So we want to do a sum, and we want to do it by owner. Right? Actually, let's go count. That'll be easier. Count by owner. And now you see here we have a bar chart of opportunities by owner in a good demo environment. I own all of them, but you can see my colleagues have extra, right? So if I went save and save, that would put that right here on the main page. So that gives you guys the ability, or shows you here how to create new content on these pages, yeah? All right, so let's go talk about modifying what we would call list views. So I have accounts, contacts, leads. So these all give me an Excel style view of rows and columns. So this is exportable, so I can do exports and imports here to Excel. But if I want to add new content on these, all I need to do is click this plus, and then I can create new rows. So maybe against the lead, I want to know what account it is. Do I want to know what city they're in? And I want to know who created the lead, making up something silly. So now for everybody in this list view, I'll have the name of the lead, who the contact is. Oh, I already had a count on page. That's great. So I can delete that again. Now I have the city and I can see who created it. So this ability to modify what is called your list view is end user. And the benefit is that's only for you. So I can have a completely different list view than Shane does or Julie does. Right? I can modify my view for things that are important to me. All right, I'm going to come over to leads and let's dive into a lead really quick. And we'll start talking about this the first time we're diving into a record. So let's talk for just a sec about the lead page. So from here, I'll draw your attention to what we call our DCN. I joked about our alphabet soup. It is the dynamic case management. So this is the lead case. Think of it as your flows, right? How do you guys qualify leads? Have your opportunity steps and stages. This is your sales funnel. So we have it's an MQL, then it's maybe SQL, and then we either convert the lead to an opportunity, or we mark it lost because the guy tells us we're never going to do business with you, right? We have the business card information. What's their phone number? What's their email? What account is this? But for a CRM user, maybe I want to go in and put in a note, right? So I can use this. You'll see this pops out, and I can just put my note in. Here's my note about, I could type this lead. This is a big free form text field. I could type in whatever I want and hit publish. And now for me and everyone else later, I'll be able to see that at 7:18 p.m., looks like my time zone is off in this demo environment, but here's my note that I put against this lead. I'll be able to see this. Everyone else will be able to see this note. And then I can schedule myself a reminder, right? So all I need to do is go create a new task. It's going to pop up a little window, call Alex about the project. And I need to do it on the 14th. The time really doesn't matter. Hit save. So now also on 2/14, I have an activity for me to call Alex about the project. And with our Outlook integration, that will pop up in my calendar if I so choose. It will come into my tasks here, and it will yell at me up top in this little notification panel. But if I want to modify this screen, right? If I want to come in here and I want to change the steps and stages, or if I want to add a new field on this page, much like I did the home page, there's this little gear. If I click that, it's going to take me into the back end, and I can now drag new content on the page. And I can modify those steps and stages. So we have the main lead page here with the DCM at the top, the metrics, the fields. And so now you can see, just like the home page, I have the elements on the left, but here's the title with my next steps and feed. Here's these metrics. And if I wanted to add a new field on the page, like maybe I want to bring in what country they're in, all I do is drag country and I can put it at the bottom, and you can see it's highlighting that little cell. If I release it there, now I have country on the page. Well, it probably makes sense for me to put city next to country, right? So now I would have city and country. Oops, I must have missed the drag. And city. So now I have city and country. So there is a bunch of existing fields on the page that I can drag over, or I can create new. So if I want to create the lead's favorite ice cream, I don't know, making up something silly, and I just want to bring in a text field, I can drag that on page and I can create new. So now it's going to ask me over here, what do I want to name the field? What do I want the description to be? Do I want to make it mandatory? What do I want the title to be? Do I want to make it multi-line? So I can modify this, but this is that no code. I can just drag content on the page so it can be fields, or you can see I have metrics here. I can put bar charts and pie charts, excuse me, or a big graph like the tachometer, right? What's our year-to-date sales, the red, yellow, green kind of tachometer thing I could bring on the page as well. So I'm just dragging content onto this. Definitely don't want to save that. I just completely blew that page up. So we'll close both of these. So that is as simple as editing those pages. Let's go talk real quick about some of our CSD connection. So I'm going to practice what I preach. I'm going to come to the top up here, and I'm just going to type in alpha again. And so we're going to go to accounts, and we're going to have alpha business. So we were at the lead level a second ago, and now we're at the account level. And so I have, these are called details. So I've got the address, the banking details. So this is where we manage some of the bill to ship tos for some of our CSD customers. Is if it's a simple ship to, we do an individual address. If it's a little more complex, then we might even do multi-account. So we could have multi-accounts with parent-child. but I'll draw your attention here to the CSD info. This is where we have the ability to bring that for your users. And so I can see what are the orders and invoices. If we're doing quotes, I can bring those all in here. So against Alpha Business, I left this intentionally blank, much like the list view that I was in a minute ago. This is just like in a spreadsheet. I can now add on the order. I want to know who the account is. Maybe I want to see the ID, any notes. The number I think is already there, so we want to know the owner, payment status, I don't know if it's status or payment status, and total. So I'm just throwing in some fields here. Oh yeah, ID we definitely don't want, so let's hide that. But now I can see these are all for Alpha Business. This one's paid, and here's the amount, right? So I'm not writing code to modify this rows and columns. So now as a sales rep, when I call Alpha Business, I can see that they have order here in progress. Maybe I want to follow up with them on that. So then I can drill through, and now I get the order total with the products and quantities, any approvals that are coming through. I have the visibility to see that from CSD. Yeah. So we definitely have a lot of customers that will jump back and forth between systems, but generally speaking, if I'm a seller, I'm living in Creatio, I can see, when I call this customer, whether I'm sitting at my desk or I'm in mobile, do I have any orders I need to follow up on? Are there any invoices that are past due? Because I can do the same thing here on invoices. Maybe I want to get their status. What supplier was it? What's the order number? So I can expose all these fields here in this row. So I have the ability to configure that for me in my view. So one of the very common things we get is changing what we call lookup values. So think of any time there's a drop down, like total number of employees, business entity type, the category, right? Are they an A, B, C, D account? These are all called lookups. And in here, we have the ability to modify these really easily. So I'm going to show that really fast. So we have account category is A, B, C, D. So if I come over to Studio, which we could do a whole big presentation on Studio, I'm going to come to lookups, and I have a list of every lookup in the system, and I want to go to the account, and I want to go to the account categories. So in here we have A, B, C, D, and all I need to do is go E. That is it. So I went A, B, C, D. Now I went E. So if I come back to that central data user, we'll go to Alpha. Come back to Alpha Business. Now, when I come into category, I have A, B, C, D, and E, right? So the point of that was a very simple configuration, is if you guys need to modify this, and you can see it took me 4 seconds, you can make these changes. There's a ID behind the scenes for color. So if you wanted E to be red, because they're an E account, we can add coloring to this. But the ability to modify the screen is just dragging and dropping content on the page. I can change values here, right? And then it is for everybody here. So here in the CSD info tab, we do things like in the metrics, we pull in year-to-date sales, prior year-to-date sales. So it looks like for Alpha Business, we've got some selling to do to make up for last year's sales. But then we also do things like our opportunities and leads and things like that. So I'm going to drill into one of our opportunities. So we've sort of flown through this where we started at a lead, that lead got converted, we went to an opportunity, or at the account level, and now we're looking at an opportunity, right? So I'll draw your attention to the top. This looks similar to the lead page in that it has its steps and stages across the top. It's got its own metrics here, so I can see how long has it been in the funnel, how long has it been sitting in proposal stage, have we done any calls or emails against this opportunity. We bring in your products from CSD, so as you guys are quoting or working this opportunity, we can bring in all of your products. So when you go hit plus sign here on the products, we can go create new products. But I want to show you some of the no-code automation, more on the business process automation that I talked about in the kickoff. So I'm going to open up the editor one last time. And so we're on the opportunity. I click the gear, and we're going to go look at that steps and stages across the top. So I can envision the folks that are on this call, your sales process, I can almost guarantee, is different than qualification, presentation, proposal, contracting, close won, close loss, right? You're going to have your flow for your sales reps, right? How do you guys work through your sales process? So on the page editor here, I click on the DCN. I'm going to expose this, and then I'm going to go set up the case here. And I want to show this because this is really powerful for us to be able to do like auto emails, auto create activities. So I can do these things without writing any code. So you can see here are the steps and stages. I've got qualification, presentation, proposal, contracting, closed won. But below you'll see there's these buttons. So let's say when it moves from presentation to proposal, I want to automatically create a task. So we're going to say that you have to call the client and deliver proposal. I don't know, making something up. Now, whenever we move from presentation to proposal, there is automatically going to be an activity created or a task created for the current user. We can say do it in 7 minutes. Is it due mandatory? Do we want to schedule it for 3 days later? We can make it mandatory. We can do all kinds of fun stuff, but you guys don't have to do anything at this point. All you're doing is moving it from presentation to proposal, and then it's going to automatically create a task for you. But we can do way more than just schedule tasks. We can build approval processes. We do this with our other CSD customers on like the quote DCM at the top. Once you want to generate the quote, you need to get an approval. And so there's out-of-box approvals in the CRM. So I can say, great, I'm done with the quote. I move it into contracting, auto send an approval to my boss so he can review it. Maybe we want to send an email, right? So here's your quote, making up something silly, so that we can auto send an email once it moves into this stage, right? Who's it from, who's it to, what's the message? And then also, do we want to do it automatically or manual? So we're not having to go and write these things. We can have the system go and do these. Right? Create a task, send an email. Do we want that to happen automatically? So some of our customers very sincerely will say, when the lead is created, for example, here are 3 tasks that you need to do. You need to do some research on LinkedIn, go to Zoom info and find more info, and then you need to try calling them. And then after 7 days, if you don't get them, automatically create another activity, for you to call them. So you're doing those in these drag and drop editor here. You're not writing any code. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is the ability throughout the system I've shown is to do like tasks, scheduling next steps, whether I'm on an account, whether I'm on an opportunity, I'm scheduling myself reminders, right? So in here, once you're scheduling these across the different sections, I can then come in and view my tasks across the board. So I started creating tasks against a lead. I think it was call him about a proposal. I made up a fake one a minute ago. You have the ability now to see, and I can use these filters and folders, and I can say, look at all of the tasks where the employee is me, right? And I think, am I Scott Wolf in here? I think, yep. So I don't care about everyone else's, I only care about mine, and I only want to look at mine that are due today, right? So I can use these as a way for me to start segmenting the data, and I can say, okay, here's my call list. I have my tasks that I need to accomplish today. So I could come into this task, right? I can see what were my notes, what do I need to do? And then I can mark this thing completed because I did call this guy about this proposal or whatever it was, right? So we have the ability to follow up on these tasks. Okay, so the last thing I just wanted to talk about was our offer for the folks that are part of the presentation today. We wanted to extend like a trial. So if anybody wants to reach out, obviously you can go through Central Data, they'll put you in touch with me. Though it's not Black Friday, we got a Black Friday special. We're going to do a 30-day trial for free, and we will even migrate some of your data into the system so you can take advantage of playing in Creatio with your CSD data. We'll import accounts and orders and invoices, and then we will give you over the course of that 30 days 4 one-hour workshops. So we'll turn the keys of the kingdom on for 5 of your employees, then you guys can go poke around and we will hold your hand throughout doing these little workshops. Hopefully make you guys a little more informed as you're poking around. But yeah, that's an offer we'd like to extend for anybody that's interested. We will give you a free month to go ahead and play around in Creatio. But Shane, I try to do my best to keep these to about 30 minutes. Looks like I hit the nail on the head here. Give some folks time back of their day. That is all I had prepared for today.
Yeah, that was really good, Scott, and that's a nice offer as well. I did have one question that kind of popped into my head, and because I probably should know this. For a new customer that's on CloudSuite and they've given you the green light that they love Creatio and they want to move forward, what does an implementation look like, and some of those customizations that obviously they could potentially do on their end, or the personalizations of dragging things in and out, but how many of those items do you handle as part of the quick start on the implementation side?
We'll try to do as much as the customer wants. I think the big things that we found success with, Shane, is we'll do workshops. So obviously we could go in and configure the whole account screen with the steps and stages, but it really doesn't make sense. Theoretically, we would do a workshop with the customer. They would then be trained on how to do it themselves. So it's a function of training, but most of our implementations are 6-8 weeks. And we'll have somebody up and running, connected to CSD, running leads and ops to orders, all the bill to ship tos, everything in. But we found a lot of success in doing those workshops to kind of guide the user in how to be successful.
That's great.